today I'm going to be talking about how I genuinely don't think I would be here at my dream school right now if I didn't delete TikTok for an entire year. I had Instagram and Snapchat deleted for about 6 months and during the summer. So why did I do this? I realized it was something I was constantly addicted to. I'm not a 5-year-old iPad baby, and neither are you. I feel like the main thing that holds people back, and especially the main thing that held me back from deleting it, is, I have all these memories, I have this account, this is the main form of communication between me and my friend. The main thing was I didn't want to delete TikTok. I was like, I'll lose all my drafts. I use this to look up like study hacks. I use this to look up trading insights. Sometimes I get like news on there. I'm really going to be missing out on a lot. These sound very similar to the excuses that people that have some sort of severe addiction say to themselves. I'm telling you right now, download the New York Times. If you go to college, it's probably provided to you for free through your school. You will find your news there. If you are into trading, go find a YouTube channel for trading. If you are really like, I use TikTok for looking at cafe spots and restaurant spots, I will admit TikTok is really real and helpful with finding that stuff, but there are plenty of other apps. Go download Belly, ask your friends for recommendations. Everything that you're making an excuse to keep TikTok for, there's a complete separate app for that. Yes, you might have to go to like 5 different platforms to get one thing, but it will save you so much time. It was summer going into my senior year. My orchestra string academy that I was a part of, we all went to New York, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey to go on tour. We had a 2-hour waiting period in the airport before we could board. Anyways, I was sitting next to this girl, and she's now one of my closest friends, literally the most inspirational person. Single-handedly pushed me to apply to all of my dream schools. Also was so supportive. I love Michelle. I'm sitting there next to her in the airport, and I'm scrolling on my phone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so boring. When are we gonna board? Blah, blah, blah. She's like, can you like just put the phone down? And my phone had gotten boring at that point. Like after 2 hours, like even TikTok's kind of like, you can just kind of feel like your brain deteriorating at that point. So yeah, I put the phone down, and then she's like, why don't you just delete it? And I'm like, what? Like, I'm too scared because I'm gonna lose all my memories, I'm gonna lose all my drafts. Like the people I follow, me and my friends share funny videos on there. The main one that I was hesitant to delete was Instagram. That's where you post everything. That's how you update people, like what you're doing in your life. Foreshadowing, one of my main points is not everyone needs to know what you're doing constantly in your life. This does sound very hypocritical because I am constantly make YouTube videos that are of my daily life, but I will get into that later. This woman is so insanely smart. Okay, wait, she's actually only a year older than me, but like I genuinely like view her so mature in my eyes. Imagine this, you're scrolling on TikTok, you're literally like brain rotting. For fun, she literally plays this game on her phone of the periodic table. For fun, she would have Shakespeare book open and then be reading like translations, like for the words to understand the literature better. That was for fun. She is one of the smartest and coolest people I know. Eventually, throughout the trip, I delete TikTok and Instagram, but I keep Snapchat just to take photos. Eventually delete that too. It felt like pressure from her. She wasn't actually pressuring me, but I was like, dang, like what am I doing with my life? Like I'm spending 5 hours on TikTok a day, and she's here. She already knows half of the Shakespeare literature and is like already memorized the entire periodic table. Genuinely, I think this was one of the most helpful things. Every single time I was like bored or we were like in a time of waiting period, she'd pull out a deck of cards and be like, do you know how to play this? She would constantly be sitting there, let's play chess. Do you want to play iMessage chess? Let's play cards. Eventually I started reading the news for entertainment. That went on for about a week, so I pretty much had a complete detox. When I got back home, my family wasn't there because they were on a trip, so then I was home all alone. I have absolutely like no form of entertainment. If you've ever been to a summer camp or on tour or something, you definitely know post-trip depression because you're constantly surrounded by people and then you're just like in complete isolation again. I get back home, and when I tell you, the urge to re-download TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat was actually insane. Oh my gosh, I'm doing absolutely nothing to like all day. I have no one to talk to. Snapchat was the main form of communication. I'm like, like what if texting me on there to like hang out? Let me tell you right now, if they're really your friend, they will ask you on iMessage or whatever like kind of phone you have, like the regular texting platform, like how you are, what you're doing. Also, you can reach out to them before you delete the app and be like, hey, I'm deleting the app, please just message me on blah blah blah. Anyway, so I get back home and I'm starting to go a little insane. If you have ever deleted social media, you will know like you kind of feel itchy. You might feel like a little anxious, and this is actually insane to be saying. These are the exact same type of withdrawal feelings people that have substance abuse and drug abuse issues go through. I looked this up, and the same amount of dopamine you're getting from TikTok, Instagram, like scrolling, liking videos, is the exact same typical amount of dopamine someone that has substance abuse and drug abuse issues is getting. So keep that in mind. I would say that my entire social media deleting was prompted by Michelle. The reason was I wanted to raise my SAT score. I wanted to get into some of my dream schools. I think genuinely if I didn't have the discipline or her pushing me to delete this, I don't think I would have raised my SAT score to what it is, and I don't think I would have applied to all the schools I did. I'm telling you, I was home all day alone for like until my family came back from their trip. I wake up at like 8. I wake up a lot later because I am a college student, and I had the entire day off, like because it's summer. Sit there, I'm like, what do I do? So then I started practicing my violin. Insane. If you practice an instrument, if you're trying to get really good, this is perfect. Delete the app. You will become cracked at your instrument. This helped me prepare for college auditions. Then I started replacing all forms of like small type of mobile dopamine. This sounds ridiculous, but I downloaded a mobile SAT app where you could complete practice questions. You read a passage, answer 10 questions. That's it. So instead, if I was going to a restaurant, like, and waiting to pick up my food, I actually vividly remember this, waiting for my pickup order. This is normally when I would scroll, right? But this is the first week off after, so I would just open up my phone and do SAT prep questions for fun. You might think I'm crazy, but because your levels of dopamine have dropped so low, like immediately deleting everything, that will actually be rewarding to you. Now I'm going to explain a little bit about why social media is so bad for you. How you don't have to completely delete it. That was just my path. So first of all, you constantly have a handheld form of dopamine that is available to you at any time of the day. Whenever you're stressed, or whenever you have writer's block, or whatever your major may be, or maybe you're a high school student still. Let's say you're studying the SAT and you suddenly like get to a really hard question. Your immediate reflex is going to pretty much be to, oh, let me scroll on my phone a bit, because it's like too hard for your brain. You don't want to like tackle that task. So I think that's very dangerous. You immediately go to some form of entertainment. How are you processing your thoughts? You sort of have a built-in cushion in every aspect of your life that you can just lean back on, and that is not healthy. Next, I have watched numerous TED Talks on this. Whenever I was tempted to re-download social media, I would watch YouTube videos on how bad social media is for you, or how you can fight the addiction, or what you can do in your free time instead. I can link them down below. A creator I really like that helped me with sense of discipline of studying and stuff. His name's, I think, Ruff. Every little feature of the technology apps you are using, these are major tech companies. They are masters at psychology. They have people that specifically know how, like, why our brains click on something versus when we don't. So they're going to make every little feature of the app as enticing as possible. Like the little icons of the circles of the stories, colors of the app, all of that is meant to be highly addictive. All of it passes your subconscious. You don't even realize that you're clicking on it. Once you become aware of this is actually scary. I still do this sometimes because I do have all of my social media back. But how many times do you open your phone to do something and you end up doing something else? Oh, let me look up what the weather is today. All of a sudden I have an Instagram notification. I'm looking, someone followed me. Now I'm looking at their profile. Then I'm looking, oh, who are our mutuals? Now I'm on Instagram Reels. Like half an hour has passed. Another thing about having a hit of dopamine in your back pocket whenever you want, why would you have any motivation to do your long-term goals or hard tasks throughout your day when you can get the exact same rewarding feeling from scrolling? Immediately, just immediately open your phone, you get that exact same hit of dopamine, if not higher. Okay, next I'm gonna go into how you can actually break the addiction. I would recommend, if you are highly addicted, if you are spending like 5 to 6 hours on your phone, but it's not for Spotify, it's not for like forwarding anything, if it's just purely 3 like social media apps, Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, I would recommend deleting it for a small period of time first. My story, I deleted it over the summer. I kept that deleted until like halfway through the year when I realized, oh, I'm done with college apps, or I know I'm not going to be like an absolute fiend. Okay, if you go the path where you are deleting it, delete it for like 6 months. Okay, maybe that sounds too long. Delete it for 2 weeks. Notice how anxious you are. The amount of brain fog that will slowly leave your brain, and you don't realize how foggy your brain is till you have actually not had the app for quite a while. When I first deleted it, I didn't realize how much I had short-circuited my brain over and over and over. Another thing that will happen when you delete social media is you'll start realizing no one cares. Not in like a negative way, like, oh, like, gosh, like no one cares about me. No one really cares like what you do with your life. Yes, when I first deleted it, a lot of my coworkers and like my friends were like, hey, are you okay? Like, it's like something going on. So typically, I feel like people delete social media if they're going through something mentally. We're in that point of a society where if you delete the app, it seems like extremely odd. Like, are you okay? I feel like that's a sign that social media has become way too present in our everyday life. So first of all, when you first delete it, you will constantly feel like itchy, mentally itchy. You will feel like you have something to do, but you don't. You have like an insane amount of time. You won't think you do, but when you're just waiting around, like, what do? I remember seeing this TikTok. Yes, I do watch TikTok again, just a very small amount. This old lady came up to this guy on TikTok. It was a real scenario, and she's like, you can't even just like, be in the present moment. You can't even put your phone down while you wait for the bus. People just used to like talk to each other at the bus station or look at the birds, whatever. But I sort of had like that same relationship with my friend Michelle. Like, I would be sitting there and she's like, you can't even sit still for a second. Just look out the window. Like, During tour, we did have a lot of bus time. During that, instead, I would listen to music and like look outside, and it's genuinely so peaceful. We would just talk, we would play chess, cards, whatever. Another misconception a lot of people say is, oh, but this is my time to relax, like it gives my brain a break. You may think that, but genuinely from someone that noticed the difference of not having any social media versus having it, it feels entertaining and it feels like a break, but it actually just makes you more anxious and more addicted to it. Coming from personal experience, if you ever scroll before you take a nap, I just keep scrolling. Sometimes then I can't fall asleep from my nap because like the dopamine. Versus when I read a book before I take a nap, or if I just go straight for a nap, I can easily fall asleep. This one's very dramatic. A lot of people might clown this one and be like, oh, this is too extreme. When you're going through this withdrawal period, when you've deleted social media, take a cold shower in the morning. That sounds insane, but it literally shocks your like entire nervous system. Wait, I'm not a medical professional. I don't know if it shocks your nervous system. It literally is such a shock to your body, resets your mindset. For me, at least it did. Pretty sure this is a common practice for people that have gone through PTSD, taking ice baths. So this is the absolute extreme end of the scale. I was really addicted to social media, and then I'm sitting at home. I would wake up, take a cold shower in the morning. It's so painful. Like also, I feel like it's more mentally painful than physically painful, because yes, as soon as you step in the shower, like you kind of lose your breath. You're like, oh my god. But you will be okay. Trust me, this will help. If you genuinely truly want to get over this addiction, I would recommend the first week after you delete all of it, take a cold shower each morning. With all of your free time. If you delete it while you're on break, you're gonna have so much time. You're gonna be like, what do I do with all this? Or if you're deleting this while you're like in school or you're still busy, you have work, whatever, I'd recommend time blocking your calendar. This is what my typical calendar looks like when I'm in school, like, and I have things to do. I'd recommend even when you're on break, still time block your calendar, because you're gonna feel like you need to have something to do. And you do need to have something to do in order to not immediately go on your phone. Even if it's simple, like get ready, shower, like whatever, that still like gives you a set time. I noticed when I had TikTok and I had Instagram, whatever, before I would shower, like I would sit there for a while scrolling on my phone while the shower warmed up. But then it would be like past the time that the shower's already hot. I'm still sitting there scrolling on my phone. I get out of the shower, I dry off. I'm like, oh, like while I'm drying off, like let me go on my phone. No, seriously, it seems like these little things don't take up that much time, but you will genuinely save so much time. Also, a big trap you will probably fall into is going on to Safari or Google Instagram. Do not do this. The whole point of deleting the app is so you're not on social media. So something that can really help you through this entire process is having someone to hold you accountable. I think the only reason I actually made it through it and stayed dedicated to it was because like she didn't mean to do this, but the pure look of disgust of being like, oh yeah, like I'm on Instagram today. She's like, this is talking about my friend Michelle, by the way. When you have social media and you're just doing like basic tasks like cleaning your room, taking a shower, whatever, it kind of feels like you're moving through tar. Every action you do, it feels like a chore. But when you do this, you also need to replace all of your current like waiting activities with other activities. Do not become a YouTube addict or an Instagram Safari addict. This is what I did. Humans are very addictive beings. Like you want something to constantly be obsessed with. Right now, I will admit my current obsession is kind of making YouTube videos, but I think it's very creative. I don't think it's harmful to me. Yeah, do not replace your current addiction with another addiction unless it is very helpful to you in some way or it's creative or something. After you get through this entire withdrawal period, you can re-download the app. Go ahead. Social media is a very big part of today. This is how you communicate with your friends. If you're going into college, if you're a senior in college and you're about to be a freshman, this is typically how you find roommates. I would re-download the app, but I currently have all these screen time blockers on my phone. I have a typical Apple screen time. I give myself 30 minutes a day on TikTok, and I only open the app when I want to post. Do 30 minutes. 30 minutes is the perfect amount of time. On top of that, I have 2 other screen time blockers. This sounds insane. This is the one I use for TikTok. This is the one I use for Instagram. For TikTok, I find it helpful because it shows you each time you open it, how many times you try to open it in the last 24 hours. The point when it becomes an addiction is when I try to open it more than 5 times in the past 24 hours. It helps me stay mindful. Wait, do I actually need this right now, or am I just anxious and bored? When I first put this app on my phone after I re-downloaded Instagram and stuff, I would catch myself, sometimes I'd be studying, and I'd open it, and then I'm like, why am I checking? And then while you're waiting for those 20 seconds, you're kind of like, damn, like, what am I really doing here? My key takeaway, this is the timeline I would give someone else that is going to go through social media withdrawal. Delete it for a month. Then if you're doing good after a month, and if you're not feeling the urge to re-download it, don't re-download it. See how long you can go without social media. If you do want to re-download it, do not look at people's stuff, because since you've missed like an entire month, it's so tempting to like scroll through and like catch up on everything. Don't do that. Download your screen time blocking apps. Only go on there when you have a purpose. Every single time you open social media, think, what am I doing here? Or am I just going on here to look at other people's stuff? Also, I feel like social media kills creativity. Every good idea comes from someone being bored or being curious about something. If you constantly are watching videos, you're not gonna have a time of boredom. Your any ideas. When I wasn't using it for about 6 months, but I deleted TikTok for a year, I got really into reading again, which was so nice because I hadn't had that since I was a child. And then I got really efficient at the SAT time. I applied to 22 schools. This school that I'm currently at, University of Pennsylvania, was one of the last schools I added just on a whim, and now I'm here. Genuinely, you don't know how much of a difference deleting social media will actually make. Anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Genuinely take these tips and actually try to implement them. I would say do it even if you don't want to delete social media, or if you're not even really addicted, just delete it for a month and see what happens.